She'd married into serious wealth, the kind that comes with a massive Connecticut estate and a husband, Derek, who wore his privilege like a designer suit. "Just come," Maya had pleaded over the phone. "I miss you." I pulled up in my 10-year-old Honda, wedging it between a brand-new Mercedes and a gleaming Tesla. My jeans and sweater suddenly felt incredibly shabby as a valet appeared, looking utterly confused about whether my car was a prank. Derek met me at the door with a smile that never reached his eyes. "Ah, the famous little brother. Maya's told us so much about you." His tone made it clear that none of it was impressive. The dining room was a spectacle of excess crystal chandeliers, expensive oil paintings, and a table long enough to host a royal banquet. At the head sat Derek's parents, his mother Margaret, draped in pearls, and his father Richard, a sharp-eyed man who didn't miss a thing. As the first course was served, Derek started his performance. "So," he announced loudly, "my brother-in-law is a teacher. Elementary school, right?" "High school," I corrected him calmly. "I teach physics and mathematics." "Ah yes, those who can't do teach." He chuckled at his own stale joke. Margaret offered a polite titter. Maya's face flushed with embarrassment, but she stayed silent. That silence hurt more than Derek's insult. "And you still live in that tiny apartment in the Bronx?" Derek pressed on. "Maya showed me pictures. It's quite cozy." "It suits my needs," I said. "I'm sure it does. Must be nice not having real responsibilities. No family to support, no big mortgage, just teaching." He said the word teaching like it was something you'd scrape off your shoe. I gripped my fork, my knuckles turning white. I noticed Richard had stopped eating and was now watching his son with a look of growing disapproval. "Derek?" Maya whispered, finally. "What?" "I'm just making conversation." He then turned to his father. "Dad, didn't you always say that success is measured by what you build?" "I'm just curious what my brother-in-law has built." Before I could even think of a response, Richard spoke for the first time, his voice cutting through the tension. "What's your last name, son?" "Reeves." "James Reeves." Richard's fork clattered onto his plate. His face went pale. "James Reeves? Dr. James Reeves?" The word doctor hung in the air like a sudden thunderclap. Derek's smirk finally vanished. "I don't use the title socially," I said quietly. "But yes, I have a PhD in theoretical physics from MIT. Richard shot up from his chair. "Margaret, do you know who this is?" "This is the James Reeves." "The Reeves algorithm, the one that revolutionized our energy grid efficiency." "Dad, what are you Derek started?" "Be quiet, Derek," Richard snapped. He turned to me, his expression now one of complete awe. "Your paper on quantum computational applications. I've read it 4 times. We implemented your algorithm across our entire manufacturing division. It saved us $43 million in the first year alone." The room was utterly silent. Richard's voice grew with excitement. "You have any idea how many people called me crazy for that investment? Your algorithm proved them all wrong. You didn't just write a theory, you changed how entire industries operate." "I appreciate that, sir," was all I could manage. "Appreciate it? Son, you're a genius. And you teach high school?" He shook his head in disbelief. "Why?" I looked him straight in the eye. "Because I grew up in the Bronx with a single mom working 2 jobs. I had one teacher, Mr. Chun, who saw something in me. He stayed after school to help me with advanced math he didn't have to teach. He's the reason I got into MIT. He's the reason I'm here." I let that sink in. There are dozens of kids just like me in my classroom. Kids whose potential gets buried because nobody expects anything from them. If I can be for just one of them what Mr. Chun was for me, then yes, I teach. Richard's eyes were glistening. "My God, Derek, are you listening to this?" His gaze fell on his son and his voice trembled with anger. "You mock a man who gave up a 7-figure career to shape young minds? You who inherited everything you have, who's never built a single thing that wasn't handed to you on a silver platter?" "Dad, I didn't know. That's the problem." "You didn't know and you didn't care to find out. You saw a humble man in simple clothes and assumed he was beneath you." Richard turned back to me. "Dr. Reeves, I apologize for my son's behavior. It's clear I failed somewhere in his education." Maya finally found her voice. "James, I'm so sorry." Richard insisted I stay for coffee, where he grilled me about my current research side project, optimizing renewable energy storage. Derek sat in mortified silence as his father offered to fund my work through his company's foundation. When I left, Richard walked me to my car. "Those kids you teach," he said, They're lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one, I replied. Driving home in my old Honda, I couldn't help but smile. Humiliation, I thought, has a funny way of finding the people who deserve it most. Thanks for watching, and remember to follow for more stories.